So happy 2021. This is a practice that's going to take those two practices I recorded this week and kind of combine them. And the purpose is to bring stillness to the moment, so that we can just be aware of what's going on in our physical body this week. And then over the course of the next month, we'll be working on the other bodies in a more esoteric way, but drawing on the first thing that we can, when we try to make an awareness about how one thing connects to another, you kind of have to go by what you know is true, and that comes through the senses, through the physical body. So, and how you perceive your senses, whether it's good or bad. So we're going to use that to explore where we find things that we resist in our body that don't allow us to let go. I thought it was a good practice as we go into the new year, because you can feel that move to like do everything. Like, I'm gonna start this, this is my goal, let's go, go. And but we still in reality are living under a pandemic, and so and the responsibilities at work and at home are still very stressful. And so I hope this practice will bring you some tools to just be aware of where your body is, and to recognize the need for movement or the need for stillness rather than movement. So that's this practice today. So start by coming to a seated position. Relax the hands down on the knees, close the eyes, stack the vertebrae. Just bring your awareness into your body, and inhale and exhale. Just gently bringing awareness to each inhale and exhale. And as you continue breathing, bring your awareness to your spine, lengthen through the spine, and note areas that you feel holding or tightness, and draw your attention there with the breath. Bring your awareness to the bottom of the spine as it hits the ground. Gently draw in the muscles in the front of the body, squeeze in the belly slightly, and feel the sits bones on the ground, and make an awareness there, and breathe into that awareness. And then doing the same, draw your awareness to the top of the spine, and then how it extends above the head. And as you do that, tilt the chin towards the chest. And then begin taking the right ear to the right shoulder, and gently through the center to the left shoulder, just side to side. And drawing your attention to the top of the head, the top of the spine, as it extends beyond your physical body. See what shape that spot, if it was tracing on paper, would draw. And then gently let the chin rest to the chest, and think of the top of the head again. And inhale, bring the head back up. Exhale, blink the eyes open. And then we're going to go onto our back. So we're going to start just like I did with the back strengthening on our back, bringing awareness to a neutral spine and the support on whatever part of our back that needs it. So you're going to lay down on the floor. And then the exercise calls for extending the legs, but I like to start with my feet hip width apart. And I'm going to relax the head down, and I'm just going to feel where I can get my lower back, my middle back, and my neck relaxed, and in a fairly straight line. I'm going to take some breaths in here, bringing awareness to whatever touches the ground. And I'm going to bring an awareness to the bottom of my spine in space. And then again, I'm going to draw in the lower belly slightly, just to bring an awareness to the ground. And then release that out. And then inhale towards the crown of the head. Bring an awareness there. And find what position feels good on your head. And then place the feet on the ground, tuck the pelvis slightly, lengthen the arms towards the heels, and begin to curl up towards the thighs and hold there. Take 5 long deep breaths here. Make sure you're pressing the lower back into the ground. Come down if you can't. Feel the feet. Allow your body to shake and take long deep breaths. Gently roll that down. Bring the knees into the chest. Hug your nose towards the knees. Release very gently. Roll over onto the side and push yourself all the way up onto the hands and knees. Cat and cow. Just like the back series, being mindful of the hands and the knees and the shins and the feet on the floor. You want that stability of the floor to try to get a flat back here. So you'll have to engage in the core to make that happen. You can use the floor to do that. The elbows aren't locked out, but they are rotated slightly forward towards the edge of the mat, and my head becomes an extension here. So I want to really be mindful of my spine and take that breath down to the tailbone. So you're going to go down to the lowest part of your spine and just feel what that feels like to hold that neutral position. And then bring your awareness to the top of the spine, to the crown chakra, above the spine. See how that feels, breathing into it. And then gently lift up the chin, inhale, and then lift the tailbone slightly. And then tuck the chin and tuck the tailbone slightly. And then lift the tailbone, lift the chin. And then tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin. One inhale, inhale, and arch up. Exhale, round. And just continue cat-cow. Inhale to come to neutral. Curl the toes back and lift into your downward dog. Take a moment to shake the head no and yes. Bring movement into the body, rock into whatever position feels good. This is like your good position. So like the position you want to go to. So if that doesn't work for you, you can also use child's pose. So and you'll know who you are. Like, it's usually the people who are like, oh, I love that quiet practice that was 7 minutes long with no words. That would be the child's pose person. And then the person that wants to move would be in, oh, I get to do yoga? Okay, I'm going to do downward dog. And then inhale into plank. So we're warming up the core in plank. Again, the elbows aren't completely locked out. I'm rotating them slightly forward, engaging through the core, pushing through my feet, making contact with whatever's on the ground. You can always put the knees down, then you'd be aware of the toes, the knees. If your toes are pointed, the shins. So you're just bringing that awareness so the next time you come to this position, it feels familiar with good posture. A challenge, but doable. Bring your awareness to the tailbone. How can you soften it, but hold the stability of this posture? And then to the top of the head. How is the posture with the upper body engaged on your neck, on your spine? How does that feel on your physical body? Take a moment, inhale. As you exhale, lower down slowly. Inhale, coming up through cobra, and exhale into child's pose. So we're going into that next series of back strengthening, which is really the first of the strengthening for the back. But I'm going to take a moment to stretch into my shoulders. So take the hand that's closest to what you're watching, thread it underneath you. Take a little stretch here. And then unthread, find that neutral spine, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Thread the other arm under. Inhale back to the hands and knees, and then you have a choice, either go back into child's pose or downward dog again. And then coming on to the hands and knees. So this is the lead up to the Superman series in the back exercise. But what we're looking for is this nice straight back. And I have feedback, so it helps me a lot to have that feedback. So maybe a mirror when you're doing it. But also not height. So we're not looking to open up our hips here. We're looking to keep our hips stable and use the floor to keep it stable. So I try to imagine all the points that are on the floor, and I try to imagine that they're fixed, and that means that I have to keep myself in alignment. So when I lift this hip, I know that I'm going to keep it down rather than let it go up to get height. So it may not look very high, and that's okay. And it may not look the same on one side or the other. So we're going to take it up and hold it. Take the right arm and the left leg, and you're going to lift up and extend. And you may do this all the time, but what I want you to notice is the spine. Keeping it neutral, keeping the hips glued parallel to the floor. I flex my foot to help me do this, retracting the shoulder, spreading through the top of the shoulders, Bringing my awareness to my abs and the flow of the breath. And then relaxing into the posture. Inhale, and as you exhale, put that down and go right into the other side. So lift the other arm and the other leg. Again, make those micro adjustments to feel the hip dropping down, the right hip dropping down, and the left shoulder pulling back away from the ear, creating some space and length in the neck. And then the ground, feel the ground. When you've done 5 breaths, hold it down, curl the toes back, take a little inhale, arch, exhale, downward dog. Take a couple of deep breaths in here, let the spine unwind. If downward dog is really challenging, go to child's pose. Try to lengthen through the crown of the head. Gently lower the knees and come onto the back. So you can try to articulate the spine down. That's another fun thing to do. So a lot of times I just get down on the floor because I know I'm going to be working my back, but it is fun to like articulate all the way down. So a safe way to do that is to bend your knees, lift up and get that length in your spine. You can use the legs if you need them, and I probably will need them when I go down. The wider you take the legs, the bigger base you have. I like to think of my butt as a base, so that's also wide. So consider that. You have more on the floor, and then take your awareness as you're rolling down and articulating through each muscle. That when you get to that place where it feels like you can't go any further, that's usually where you have to roll all the way down. And then stretch out the legs when you get down there. And then we're going to bring them back up again. Find that neutral spine. And then inhale and roll up slightly, again like we did at the beginning, and we're going to lengthen one leg out, point the toe and lower it, but you still want to feel the hips on the floor. So if you have to have support in the neck, there's a couple of things you can do. You can lower the head down and try to relax, so usually the foot has to come up a little higher so that you can keep the neck relaxed without being out of alignment. Or you can support yourself, and sometimes I will put a block under my head just so I can pay attention to the lower back. But I'm kind of resting on it like it's a pillow, so it's giving me support, but I still feel relaxed, but able to engage in the chest. So that's an option. I'm being mindful not to cram my head down into the block, because that would create a lot more neck problems if you did that. So choose your choose the method that's best for you. And then you want to feel that engagement in your core. And take 5 deep breaths here, if you haven't already. When you get to 5, plant the other foot, but stay up and extend the other leg. Now you have to make a micro adjustment here. So you might have to lower down and come back up into it so you can feel that evenness. You might have to slide the foot in or out, or you might have to raise the foot. You might have to prop to feel it. Take the neck out of the equation. When you get to 5 breaths, you're going to put the foot down, lower, and roll all the way over onto the belly. And immediately, without even resting, you're going to take your feet about hip width apart. Use your elbows if you need to find that placement of the hips so it feels firm on the floor. And then take the hands behind you and lift the head gently, keeping the feet on the floor. Hands lift, but they pull back. So I like to imagine there's like a bar behind me and I'm holding onto the bar and I'm lifting my chest. Five breaths here, and then exhale all the way down, and you can take your hands, your head into your back of your hands. So when you're in a position down on the floor on your belly, you want to avoid like heavy noises or someone interrupting you in the middle of it, so you would look up in that position where your back is vulnerable. Your back will do what it needs to do, but a lot of times it's really important to go into this mindfully, not like I'm going to do 12 of them, up and down, up and down. You get a lot more benefit if you take it up and hold it to build the strength and let the movement happen around you while you find that stillness, which is hard to do. Hard to do. So we're going to do a second set. Inhale and lift up. We're going to take the hands and maybe swim them forward. Maybe swim them back. When you get your 5 breaths, gently lower down again. Swing the hips side to side. You can also bring the legs up and do a little windshield wiper with them. Push back gently into child's pose. Take your time. When you're ready, come up to a seated position for the last little bit of this. So we're going to combine this, not for 7 minutes, the forward fold at the end as Shavasana today, and that will carry us out of the class. But first we're going to do a boat. So we're going to come back down and we're going to hold it for, I don't know, like a bunch of breaths, like a minute. And you're going to use whatever you have available to prop yourself so you can go for a minute. So if that means like you have to drop out of it, you drop out of it. If you can, come back into it. The point isn't to do the whole thing for a minute. The point is to see where your body is. Here's the expectation. If I did this, you know, would I get up to a minute? I don't know. Well, first you got to kind of figure out why you couldn't get to a minute. And is it mental or is it your body? So we're going to focus on the physical body first. And this is a good one because you'll remember me tomorrow. So You won't forget me. But we're going to use the same principles. We're armed with, we need to make sure our back is supported. We need to make sure we're not taking this into our neck just for the purpose of lasting a minute. Mindful of injuries, maybe experience, you've done this before. And if you just finished an ab challenge, this might be a piece of cake. But even if it's not, that's not the point. The point is just to strive for a minute. So I actually will look at the clock, because that would be really mean, wouldn't it? I don't know how I'm going to do it. It's okay if I don't. So we're going to roll down onto our back. And this is what I love about yoga. It's like you can take it anywhere. Like, I'm here today with you. This is where my body is right now. Let's see what happens. I might need support. I might not need support. But it's just being honest with yourself, with where you are, basically. All right, so I like to start with my knees bent, push the lower back in, lengthen through the spine, find that neutral spine where my spine feels just so wonderful and supported. Drawing my attention to my tailbone. And drawing my attention to the crown of my head. Letting my shoulder blades melt a little bit. And just feeling that neutrality, that equanimity. I'm going to open the eyes, take a deep breath in, and curl my chin up, lift my hands off the floor, and I'm going to find my position that I'm going to hold for a minute, just breathing in and out. Looking past the toes, if they were both extended, you would look past the toes. You might notice tension in the foot. Switch feet when you feel that tension. You might notice tension in the neck. Roll down, maybe roll back up. Holding this position, you can also play with your hands. So if you find a position you know you can hold for like a minute, you can play with the arms and how they extend one at a time. Just bring in awareness again, maybe switching out feet if you have one down, maybe rolling down, maybe rolling back up. Maybe trying both legs. Find your most comfortable position. And take 5 long deep breaths here. Close the eyes. When you get to your 5 breaths, lower the feet by bending the knees. Bring the knees into the chest. Rock side to side. Let your neck go in the opposite direction of the rock. Gently and slowly curl into a little ball, roll your nose towards your knee, hollow out your belly, really tuck your pelvis. Stretch out the arms, stretch out the legs, inhale. Let the back arch where it needs to go. And exhale. You can either rock it on your spine, forward and back, or you can push up on your side. Today I'm choosing this because I'm going to take a nap. So rocking back and forth would be fine too, but I'm taking a nap. So we're going to extend the legs like we did, or like I did in the first of the spinal rest video. And we're going to use that to close off practice. So if you hold this for 7 minutes every day before bed, you will definitely feel like sleep. And it does help your lower back. So this is it's a yin posture, but it didn't come from yin, it came from kundalini, which, not that it matters. A forward bend is okay, and it's supported, and it's a great way to take shavasana, especially as your physical body needs some rest now that we've worked it. And you'll feel it tomorrow if you're not already feeling it today, because I personally am feeling it. So I figure you will too. Let me know. So we're just going to fold over our legs. And again, you can take a cushion or anything for this. And I just like to grab my big toes. So you can grab your big toes, but if you can't get them, it doesn't matter. You're just folding over your legs, and you're going to let everything go. And once you have got here where you're comfortable, like you could talk through it, then you relax your feet because you're supported. But you have to have that structure first. Let the chin rest, and just allow your body to melt over your legs. Please stay in the position that you're in. Know that you can stay here for however long you need. Before you come up, make sure you take several long, deep breaths in and become aware of the room. Linger there as long as you need. And when you're ready, I hope you have a wonderful week, and thank you for joining us today.